Welcome to another episode of CrossTalk. My name is Kevin Tocci, and I will be your host for the next 30 minutes. Now, as you have come to expect from this particular show, we use this as a vehicle for a number of different items, whether it's upcoming issues in the two communities that we serve, which is Whitman and Hanson, to talk about upcoming events. Maybe we might have a wine tasting, or maybe there's an open house somewhere. We like to help promote those ideas, help promote community events. And also politics. We have used this show to speak with folks from a wide range of races, whether it's on the federal level. We've had congressmen in here, folks on the state level, gubernatorial candidates, auditor candidates, you name it, to even folks running for state senate, state representative, and even the local races, someone running for town clerk or running for selectman. Well, today we're going to actually have a little bit of a conversation, as folks may or may not know, that in the 7th Plymouth District, in the state rep district, there is a political race that has begun to form. As the current state representative, Jeff Deal, has announced that he is going to run for U.S. Senate. So what we are doing here as an outlet, as a cable access center, is giving the candidates who have announced an opportunity to sit down, introduce themselves to the community, more so Whitman than Hanson, because the 7th Plymouth District is most of East Bridgewater, Abington, and yes, the town of Whitman. Joining me today, sitting to my left, is a gentleman who is a selectman in the town of Abington, who is said candidate for said seat, Mr. Alex Bezanson, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.
Welcome back. This isn't your first time here on the show.
No, I've been here a few times.
He was actually here as a person who was promoting an upcoming event.
We did our HUG events through here.
HUG stands for?
Help Us Give.
Help Us Give. Just so folks know, that was an organization that you started in kind of the memory of your sister.
Of my sister, yes. We started it, my sister passed away from cancer in 2008, and we started the HUG Foundation to help people going through things that she went through during her last 2 years of her life, traveling to and from hospitals every day, and to help those people pay for the incidentals that the insurance doesn't pay. Mm-hmm. So that's how we started it. We've expanded to other donations since then, but we do several events throughout the year, and thank you for advertising it for us.
We're not advertising because we're a nonprofit, but promoting it that you've been here in the past as a guest. So this isn't your first, and I think your son Brian.
Brian was here also.
Brian was here as well. Your son, who is also part of the HUG Foundation. But you are somebody who has served. I mentioned selectman, but you have served in other roles. Yes. In the town of Abington, sitting on other boards and committees, right?
Yes, I was on the Conservation Commission for 22 years, 15 of those years as chairman. And then I ran for selectman, and I'm in my first term as selectman. Mm. And I've been on other boards, open space, and I don't know, we've been doing a lot of volunteering over the years in the town.
And it isn't just you. It's kind of a family thing.
It is.
Your Mrs. Lisa.
Yes.
Also somebody who served on various boards.
Lisa
too, right?
was on the zoning board for about 12 years. She's now on the finance committee, and she's very active over in Teen Challenge in Brockton. Was just awarded Woman of the Year for New England and New Jersey recently. So yeah, we're very active in charities. And
why is that? Why? Because you know what? It takes a certain person, I think, to want to donate their time, whether it's once or twice a month, be part of events that take place that are in the community and give back. Why do you do it?
Just to give back to the community. I think everybody should volunteer at some point. Not maybe as much as we do, but there's lots of things people could do in towns, get on. Abington now is looking for volunteers for the reuse committee for the 2 schools that we're going to be doing something with since we have the new high school. And that probably involves 1 meeting a month for an hour or so. We have openings on Park and Rec. I just think everyone in the town should volunteer in some form.
What has been your most memorable moment serving on any of those committees or as someone who's a sitting selectman in Abington?
Well, I think the thing that means the most to us was shortly after I was elected selectman, Lisa and I formed the Abington Substance Awareness Coalition. There was nothing in Abington to help with education or outreach for families or addicts. And we formed the Abington Substance Awareness Coalition, which is a nonprofit, and we meet once a month, and we've been able to bring speakers into the schools. We've been able to help people that have reached out to us and get them into treatment. And we've been able to help with some families, leading them in the right direction of where to go for help and treatment. And that led us to Teen Challenge, who they are a 15-month Christian-based rehab program that's worldwide, and they have a very high success rate. So I guess that would be the most memorable thing that I've done so far.
And you also were part of an interesting announcement, knowing that the recent news is that Amazon looking for a new, I believe they want a new location, and there's some, I want to say around the country, some
246, I heard,
46, all right.
something like that. I heard today.
It was north of 220, that's
Right.
for sure. That you had offering, whether it's space and locations, and you were part of an announcement.
I actually hosted the press conference last Thursday, I believe it was, in Abington. And this is a unique situation for the South Shore. Abington, Rockland, and Weymouth all got together with the owners of Southfield, Union Point now, and come up with a proposal for Amazon. Is it a long shot? Probably, but I honestly believe that when Amazon looks at the proposals, they'll see that Weymouth, Abington, and Rockland is the one place that is shovel-ready, permits within 30 days, and we have the workforce, we have the public transportation.
Amenities, yeah.
We have the airport within 45 minutes, major city within 30 minutes. We have everything on their checklist. We have it, and we're ready to go. Hopefully we get it. It will create 50,000 high-paying jobs, I'm told, in excess of $100,000 each. And not only will it bring those high-paying jobs, but all the area businesses will benefit from it too, whether it's gas stations, convenience stores, flower shops, restaurants, supermarket, everything will.
So how do you?
Well, if you have 50,000 people making $100,000 each, they're going to be spending the money locally.
Right. Giving to those economies.
Absolutely. I think it's a great thing for the South Shore. I think it's a great thing for Massachusetts. Hopefully it goes to Weymouth, but if it goes somewhere else in Massachusetts, that's good also.
Okay. And for folks who don't know, what Union Point is, of course, the repurposing of the Weymouth Naval Air Base.
Correct.
Which has, it's been a slow process, but you mentioned Southfield, and again, now it's evolved to Union Point, and the 3 communities that he mentioned, Weymouth, Abington, and Rockland, each have a stake in that, and it's nice to see that there was kind of a joint consensus.
It really was. It was great to work with both other communities and L-Star from Union Point.
Talk to me about throwing your hat into the ring for this race, the 7th Plymouth District State Rep race. Give me your thoughts on getting out early and often?
Well, I think, as you know, I decided last November, nearly a year ago, to run for this seat. We have another year to go. When I announced I was running, I said I didn't care who was in the race. I wasn't going to let anyone else dictate the way we campaign. I think the 7th Plymouth District needs a full-time state representative that will put the people of the 7th Plymouth District first. I will always support the hard-working men and women of the 7th Plymouth District and the Commonwealth. I will be a full-time state rep. I will have a district office that I will maintain myself. I have the political experience, I think. I think I have the life experience to serve the people of 7th Plymouth.
What do you feel are the issues? What are the issues that you've been out there, you've talked to people in every part of the district? What do you feel are the issues?
The biggest issues I'm seeing, and as a selectman in Abington, is local aid and funding. We need more funding for our police and fire. We need more funding, especially here in Whitman, for our public schools. And we need more funding and more early education for the opioid crisis. Those are some of the things that I think are the most important issues. We need a state rep that is going to be able to bring some of that money back to the district. And that's going to be my priority, is to put the 7th Plymouth District first.
How do you mentioned Whitman. Whitman, of course, is a shared school district. How will you be able to do that? Because it's a different equation as to how Abington, with the municipality, and how the money, how the funding is paid compared to Whitman and Hanson having shared duties.
Well, I think one of the good things about me being your next state rep is that I have a close relationship with all the other state representatives in the Plymouth County, including Josh Cutler and Jim Cantwell and Tom Calter.
Wait, that's a law firm. Cutler, Calter, and Cantwell, right?
It is. You would think so.
Well, the commercial that I heard on a radio station once would tell me so as well.
And you know, I would work, they pledged to work closely with me and to teach me the ropes, if you will, and to help us get the funding and things that we need for the district.
Okay. You mentioned early education. What's early education in regards to drug education? What are we looking at here? Because I think people have a different opinion as to when we should start educating our youth about the dangers of drug addiction.
Well, I think the earlier the better. I don't think kindergarten is too early to start teaching them. Okay. But you don't teach them the same things you would teach a 6th grader or an 8th grader or a 12th grader. Okay. There's ways to teach your kids that you never take medicine unless mommy or daddy gives it to you. And as they grow older, you can explain to them more and more about the drugs and the alcohol. A statistic that we found when we were first working with Abington Substance Awareness Coalition was that 25% of the alcohol sold to underage or consumed is by underage people. And until you're 21 or 22 years old, your brain is not fully developed. Right. And alcohol is damaging that. And the earlier you start alcohol, the more chance you have of becoming an alcoholic or an addict with drugs. So I don't think we can tell them too early. The other problem now is that a lot of these kids in kindergarten and even through high school, their parents are addicts. So they're living with grandparents or aunts and uncles. So I think the time is right to talk to the young kids about this. They're seeing this at home. It's not just the high school kids or young adults doing this. This are people in their 30s and 40s that are being addicted. And it's affecting the kindergarten kids or the elementary school and junior high kids.
So is this something you feel that should be like a full-on marketing campaign done by the state?
I do. And as a small group, we're starting that ourselves in Abington.
Okay. Well, you talk about local aid. One of the things that I constantly hear, and I'm sure you have heard, and you have been a witness to being a selectman, and that is unfunded mandates that are put on communities, municipalities. The state says you must do that, but we will not give you any funding. What can you do as a state rep to go and be able to, put forth legislation to take care of some of these unfunded mandates, whether it's to find funding or find a way to where it's not a major stipulation that a community has to adhere to?
Well, I think if it's state mandated, I think the state should be paying for it. The cities and towns are strapped enough the way it is with the limit of 2.5% per year. I'm not saying we should change that, but
That was my next question.
No, I don't think we should change that.
Not even modify it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't. And definitely not in favor of new taxes. But if the state is going to mandate something, it should be coming from state funds, not the local funds.
Okay. What are some of the other issues? Again, you talked local aid. You talk, as far as education goes. Of course, there's other local aid like Chapter 90 for roads and road repairs and projects like that. Any projects maybe locally that people have bent your ear and going, yeah, we need to take care of this or take care of that. And that's, of course, I know it's something that Old Colony Planning Council would put together a transportation report and give to the state to figure into their transportation budget in the future. But what would you do in regards to helping in that area?
Well, Old Colony Planning Council just did a study of all the intersections of Route 123 from, I don't know how far east it started, but I know it affects Abington into Brockton.
Okay.
And there are several intersections that need work there. There are a couple of intersections in Abington that, as a selectman, I've been on it, Chestnut and North Quincy Street in Brockton, Abington. And I think finally that's budgeted for 2018. They're going to be putting a roundabout in there rather than...
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But it will slow the traffic down. There's been several deaths there. Another one we have in Abington that we've asked the Old Colony Planning Council to look into is Chestnut and Hancock Street in Abington. I've just started reaching out to other selectmen and town managers in the district. I'm meeting with Whitman Selectmen next week, and I'm meeting with East Bridgewater Selectmen sometime in November to discuss the needs of the other towns. I know some of the needs of Abington, and I need to learn some of the needs of the other towns.
How important was it that you actually get the word out about your campaign? You've been able to get support from various unions and other folks have kind of climbed on board. You're doing regular standouts to promote it. I mean, what's it like to be mobilized so early when normally normal state campaigns, especially for state rep, probably wouldn't kick off until February, maybe March, maybe?
Well, I think my whole life, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. And I think the right way to do it was to start as soon as the last election was over and announce my candidacy and start working then. Not just announce a candidacy, but to announce it and start working it. And I've been working every single day on this campaign, whether it's a few hours in the office with the Vote Builder program or emails or letters. And I have been lucky to get the endorsement of several elected officials in Plymouth County. Several unions have donated to my campaign. Boston Commons Union 589 has endorsed me. And I thank them very much. I'm very grateful for that. So I think other people are seeing that I am the right candidate and that I am a worker, and I've got a proven record as a selectman as getting things done. And I think people will see that, and I think that's why I've gotten the endorsements.
If you are successful come next November, well, first you're going to be successful for the primary next September. I mean, my understanding right now that we were discussing it off air as to where things stand for the race overall, whether it's Republican or Democrat. And again, that could still shake out in the coming weeks and months. But what's your thought as far as legislation? Have not to put the cart before the horse, but I mean, is there some legislation that you've already kind of thought about that you'd like to see? Because I know there are those who like to be supporters of legislation. There are those who like to lead the conversation for that.
Well, I think, like I said, I want to meet with the other officials in the towns, and I have nothing specific now. I know we do need more money for roads. Route 18 is going to start the expansion very soon. They're coming before, MassDOT is coming before Abington Selectman next Monday night. Another thing I've been working on is the railroad crossings. Abington has seen far too many deaths.
Oh, sure, right.
And I've called for the MBTA to come before us in November, our first meeting in November, which is the second Monday, to explain why we don't have quad gates when the Greenbush line has quad gates all the way down the rail, and we don't. So these are some of the things that I'm working on. You know, it's not a lot public about it, but these are some of the things I'm working on behind the scenes. And it may take an act of the legislature to get the funding to do some of these things, like the quad gates or, you know, more road repairs, especially if Amazon were to go into Weymouth. I think we need a direct exit off Route 3 into Union Point at some location there. I'm not sure where. So those are some of the things that we would do. I'm definitely in favor of bringing more business. When I was elected selectman, there was an agreement that had been stalled with Brockton for sewer. And one of the things I said as selectman in the campaign is that I would push for more business. The only way to bring more business into Abington was to bring in more sewer. So I worked with Mayor Bill Carpenter, I worked with Congressman Lynch's office, and I was able to secure an additional 500,000 gallons of sewer per day for Abington, which opened up all the building that had been stalled for 5 years. So I take things as they come. We don't know what's going to come before us, but I have a record of getting things done when an issue is presented to me.
What sounds to me as though you like to excel at being a problem solver. Is that
I
what
do. I do.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Well, no, I ask because some people would rather. I think everybody is constructed differently.
Yeah.
Some people would want to point you in the right direction to be able to find a solution,
I think I can
and others would want to assess blame.
Yeah.
And then there are those who actually want to go, you know what, let's just fix this. Why do you want to be the guy who says, let's fix this?
I've always been, forget about whose fault it is, let's just get it done. Whether it's in the business world or as a selectman or on the Conservation Commission. How can we resolve this and get it done?
Right.
The purpose is not to deny things. The purpose is to see how we can fix things and get it done. And that's just how I've always been.
Talk to me about the importance of being able to work across the aisle. While we don't necessarily have that issue here in the state of Massachusetts, and let's not forget there's also, you have a higher number of Democrats than you do Republicans, but how important is it to be able to work across the aisle and have a bipartisan effort to be able to put forth legislation or have bills passed?
Well, I think, again, I'm that candidate. I have a proven record of working across the aisle, even though town politics is nonpartisan. There's Republicans and Democrats on our board, and I get along very well with the other members of this board. We've done some good things together. I'm not afraid to reach out. Nobody is right 100% of the time. And I've always been a listener, even in my own business. If someone comes to me and says they think they have a better idea, we listen. And if it's a better idea, we go with it. I consider myself more of a moderate than an extreme left Democrat. And
Wait, did you just call yourself a Stephen Lynch Democrat?
No, extreme left.
Oh.
But yes, I don't think that's an insult at all. I'm very proud to be a Stephen Lynch Democrat.
Okay.
But I have no problem reaching across the aisle to get things done.
The other thing that I think would concern residents, seeing that you do have some conservative pockets in the 7th Plymouth District, is their taxes and their taxes being raised. And we know that under various administrations, other things that have been put forth, is ways to raise taxes. Give me your thoughts in regards to, if you are somebody who's elected, you know, how often would you be the person who would sit and look at something before saying, do I go with the party line, or do I say, no, this isn't something that this is going to be good for my district?
Like I said, I always put the people of 7th Plymouth District first, and I would do that even if it was a party line vote. If it was better for the district to go against the party, I would have to go against the party. I am not in favor of new taxes or raising taxes for the average working person. That being said, I am probably in favor of the millionaire's tax. I don't think that's going to affect too many people in our working area. But like I said from the beginning, I'm for the working men and women of this district and the Commonwealth.
Okay. We got less than 3 minutes left. Anything that I haven't asked you, or anything that you want to make sure you share with the viewers at home who are seeing this now?
Well, I think a lot of people have seen me out there already. My website is alexbezanson.org. I publish my cell phone everywhere. Anyone wants to reach me, they can reach me personally at 781-953-1236. I'm on Facebook at Alex Bezanson for State Rep, I believe it is. Again, the website is alexbezanson.org, and I always return phone calls, and I'm always accessible. And that's why we publish my cell phone number.
You ready for the marathon? Is the next, 11, 12 months?
Well, I'm halfway through the marathon now. It started as a marathon.
Okay. Out there knocking on doors and stuff?
We have just started doing that. Some of these things we wanted to wait until after this November's election, as to not to confuse people. But we have been out holding signs and holding events, and we're available to speak in front of any group that wants to hear more about me.
Well, we want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Wish you, as we wish all the candidates, the best of luck. And as far as somebody who is watching at home, remember, it's up to you to get an idea as to the folks who are running. Get educated about the individuals who are seeking your vote for upcoming elections, whether it's in the spring for a selectman's race or a town clerk's race, or in the fall during a primary or general election. Get to know who your candidates are. And if you know of somebody who is running for office, or you're somebody running for office, it's just as easy as to drop us a line here, WHCA.TV. I almost said WHCATV.org, but we have since changed that. But that's our website to find out more, or info at WHCA.TV. I'm Kevin Tocci, and again, Alex Bezanson has been our guest. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you.